Hello, everyone. Good evening. I am here. I have a very special guest that I would love to introduce you. But first, I am Melissa Duques. I'm the founder and CEO of My Coffee Connect. It's a quality connections for business to business. I am so excited to introduce you my um, business spotlight for today. But first, let me tell you about her. There you go. Carrie Barrett is the founder and CEO of Carrie Barrett Consulting, a full service media training and public speaking boutique. Carrie helps clients from every walk of life bring out their inner rock star when it comes to speaking in front of an audience or in front of a camera across all media platforms and creating today's best messaging tool, video. She polishes your message, tunes up body language, and tailors your presentation so it's memorable and always resonates. Carrie Barrett Consulting provides individuals and groups with the resources and information they need to enhance their public appearance in the best way possible. Your training helps you create dynamic confidence and presentation skills that assure you nail your media exposure. Preparation is crucial when stepping out of your comfort zone and speaking on behalf of your brand. Industry nuances are likely not your forte, but they are mine. Leveraging broadcast and production know how, our sessions, seminars, and bootcamps train you to be on your own aim game while remaining authentic to your true self and vision. No two speeches, approaches, or people are the same, and neither are our programs. Don't dread your next presentation or fear being on camera anymore. With so many opportunities to share skills, you must be prepared to shine. With over 20 years of an air experience as a new anchor, reporter, and producer on NBC, Fox News, and ABC Emmy Award winning, Carrie Barrett knows what it takes to be performance ready. She has interviewed heads of state such as Janet Napolitano, financial shaman Zeus Oman, and top celebrities such as Bradley Cooper, as well as prepared luminaries for debates. She has proven skills that make her unflappable and unstoppable. You are your brand. You are your personal brand. Are you ready for your close up? How you present yourself to the world is crucial, and you don't have a second chance to get it right. Carrie Barrett Consulting builds better speakers, impactful leaders, and powerful presenters. Through a proven methodology applied to custom solutions tailored to your requirement, KBC makes you to start the show. KBC has developed proven strategies to build confidence, overcome fear, and deliver on point, on cue. Specializing in one on one boot camps or team workshops, KBC customizes each engagement to suit our clients' media and performance objectives to be memorable, impactful, and indelible. Carrie Barrett Consulting empower your performance.
That was a hell of an intro. Show's over.
Yeah, no, I want to read it because it's really like describes you.
Oh,
So
thank you.
yeah,
It does. I spent a lot of time
yes,
putting all of
and
that
you,
together.
yeah, you deserve that,
Thank
and
you.
that's why this is my number one question to all my guests. It's how, why, and who inspired you to do what you do today.
How, why, and who? Boy, those are good questions. And you know what? It's the end of the day, so I'm going to write them down because I know, but by the time I get through the first one, I'll forget what the second one was. How, why, and who. There you go. Even though I've been doing this for years, I still need notes.
Yes.
So the how I got into well, it was a long circuitous route, really. It wasn't a point A to point B sort of
Mhm.
situation. I started out, as you mentioned, as a broadcast journalist, which was interesting enough in itself, I think, anyway, because I used to be terrified of public speaking. I was a pre-veterinary medicine major.
Yeah.
And we've had this conversation before, I think. I was 2 years in and I realized that was like chemistry and we had a bad breakup and we still don't speak. And so I had to figure out what it was that I was going to do. And I took some time off, and I knew I had this terrible fear of public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided that I would re-enroll in the communications program because it was very broad. There were many things that I could do with a communications degree, and maybe I would kick this fear of public speaking, or at least start to get my arms around this fear that I had. And I got an internship at a local TV station because it was 3 additional credits, and I didn't have to sit in a classroom, and I could jam it into my schedule, which was already very, very packed. And I loved it from day one. I loved it. I obviously I'm not in the industry any longer, but there was 20 great years of opportunity there. But when I first started out and realized that that was what I wanted to do, I had to figure out how to get around those fears and not just be competent on camera, but also compelling and understand messaging and know how to tell stories and know how to influence the tone just by the inflection in your voice. You know, one sentence read 2 different ways can mean 2 entirely different things. Mm-hmm. And so all of those nuances really came to me by just not letting that fear engulf me. And when I finally got my first job on TV, I didn't have a choice. I mean, I could, the tally light couldn't go on and me say, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm too scared to do this. I'm not going to do it. That wasn't an option. So it's very much, like many things, a process of doing in order to learn. But for me, that process took a lot longer. I was feeling my way around and figuring out how to do it by myself, essentially. And so when I left the TV news business some odd years later, mm-hmm. and I didn't know exactly what it was that I was going to do. This is a very long-winded answer, by the way. Sorry. I realized that I had this ability that I had kind of pulled myself up by my bootstraps and learned how to make this thing happen. And now with video content and marketing, right? Whether you're shooting something on your phone or you're doing a very slick brand story, or you are looking to be a contributor on CNN or MSNBC, learning how to speak to a camera and learning how to speak from a stage is wildly important in not just building our confidence in our professional career, but also in our personal lives as well. And being able to scale our visibility and our credibility and knowing how to use video so that it brings people to your website and converts them into clients. And so that is what I do now. How I do it is the next question. And I did have to look. Why I do it, excuse me. I do it because I realize the value in it. And I know that for me, excuse me, establishing my own brand and taking control of where my career, my business was going, tickle my throat. Excuse me.
You have water?
What gave me autonomy, and I knew how to cut through the noise and make sure that my message got out there. Now, I'll be honest with you, in the very beginning of my business, and we all know owning a business is a learning process that is never ending, but I didn't have a lot of strategy. I was just like, well, I'm going to put one foot after the next and see where it takes me. I'm starting to dial in the strategy now, and that has a little bit more to do with who I'm in front of and who I'm looking to target and how I'm putting together programs. But the way that I work is very customized. And part of the reason that I can do that is because I am a younger company, which means I'm pretty nimble right now in terms of being able to pivot, which we've all had to do in the past 4 months. But yes, so I really take somebody, right? I try and get a baseline, and there's a couple of process that we go through before we agree to work together. I need to get a baseline of somebody's skills, and that's dependent upon their goals. Do you want to sit in front of a camera at MSNBC, or do you want to take 2 minutes to shoot a video on here and like it rather than 3 hours to shoot a 2-minute video and hate it? So the goals are they're different depending on where you are in your career, what your goals are, and then what your base level skill set is as well. There's some people who are very good and just need a little bit of polishing. And then there are others who I know I need to do video, but I have no flippant idea what I'm doing. Like, I don't know how to present. I don't know what the message should be. I don't know how to come up with content ideas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So depending on what people need, I create a program that's a little bit coaching, a little bit consulting, some best practices and guidance, and then sometimes involves a little bit of therapy as well, because we all step into public speaking, I think anyway, with a little bit of baggage about, who am I to talk, and why would anybody listen to me, and what if I screw up? How do I recover? So there's some therapy that goes into it as well.
Yeah.
And then finally, I'm getting to your last part. Finally, the who, and that's really, it depends. So, I do a lot of, for small business owners who are looking to leverage the tools that they have, right? Whether it's their laptop or their cell phone, because they need to put out video content daily to be relevant, help with SEO, drawing customers, blah, 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 blah. For them, it's more a matter of creating content, talking about messaging, creating messaging, and then going over delivery. And so what they need, maybe somebody wants to walk out with a piece of content on, after the end of their weekly session. Maybe somebody wants me to review the content they've posted. So we work with small business owners that way. With larger business owners or executives who are looking to create or scale their visibility or their credibility with media exposure, we go into media training, which is understanding what your talking points are, understanding how to push back against hostile questioning, knowing how to navigate a studio situation, and then knowing how to leverage that exposure so that it gets you more. Does that make sense?
So we have a new guest here. Hey there. Thank you so much, Maureen. Thank you for watching us. If you have any questions, just give us a comment here. Yep. So what were some of the biggest stories you covered?
As a journalist, some of the biggest stories I covered, well, certainly one of the first big stories I covered was 9/11. And my boyfriend at the time, now husband, was in the Air Force. He was a pilot in the Air Force. And so it's all right.
Yes.
Kind of a flyboy. But the part of that was outside of the story itself was the immediate impact. So I lived in Texas at the time. I got my first job in a really small market in Texas, Wichita Falls, that's how most people start in the small market. They make their mistakes out of the larger public eye, and then they move up. And it was tough because I knew that it likely meant that as a pilot in the Air Force, he was going to go over to Iraq or Afghanistan or wherever it was that we were going to go. As it turns out, both. But what it did allow me to do also is I got the opportunity when his squadron was in Iraq, his Air Force squadron. I went over with them and I stayed there it was about 3 weeks. They were at Balad Air Base. So I covered the war from Iraq. It was not a political story by any stretch, war right or wrong. It was a story about how the war affected the service men and women and how it affected their families back home. That will forever be my career highlight. Other big stories, you mentioned some celebrities. I won't forget Bradley Cooper soon. I won't forget Selena Gomez. I realize she's not like forefront of the media right now, but she was so sweet, and she was such a great interview. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with her.
Yeah.
And then I think the story I won my Emmy for was a big crane collapse here in New York City about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago now, that ended up killing someone. And there were a lot of issues with the construction site, and there was a lot of deep digging that had to be done to figure out, get more information about the company and what happened. So that was a big story, an important one as well.
We have some questions about the audience, like from Donna Walter. She's going to be my business spotlight tomorrow.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Why did you transition from a journalist commentator to owning your own business?
Well, there's a few reasons for that, Donna. Number one, I have a husband who now flies for Delta, and so he's gone all the time. Not currently gone all the time, but usually gone all the time. I was also getting up at 1:30 in the morning because I work the morning show. And while that on paper may sound right. I'm home in the afternoon. I have 3 kids, 9, 6, and 3. I'm home with them in the afternoons. I was a zombie. I was sleeping 2.5 hours when I got home from work. Then the kids would come home from school and we'd do the homework and the bath and the dinner and the bed and a little bit of hangout time. And then I'd sleep for another 2.5 hours before I got up and went back to work. So after doing that for 15 years, I was at the end of my rope. The news industry is also in a state of contraction, and it has been for a long time. It's a state of contraction that is rapidly speeding up. People are no longer watching news the way that they used to. They are instead curating their news feeds on their phone. So
Yes.
layoffs and cuts it's a steady drumbeat that is getting louder and louder in the news industry. Like NBC just laid off probably hundreds of people coast to coast today, and they're not alone in that. Every news organization is facing that. So as a woman, you have a shelf life, especially so. And for me, when my contract was up, it was time to see what else was out there. I didn't know I was going to run a business. That I sure as heck didn't know that. That was not in the plan.
Yeah.
But it's what happened.
It says it like you started a new business a year ago. Tell us about that.
So I did start my business a year ago. I had never done anything outside of TV news career-wise. I interviewed Susie Orman. That's about the extent of my business and finance knowledge. No business classes, none of that. And a lot of people who are in journalism transition into PR. It's a natural fit and they understand the business. And while I understand what PR does, I didn't necessarily know if I would like the day-to-day. What does that look like? So I was networking and finding out where would my skills be applicable. And I met with a woman who did PR and communications for a big law firm in the city. And she said, you're crazy to think about going back into an agency or into a corporation. You have this skill set that many people don't have, that you have 20 years of experience in. If people need it, they'll pay you for it. And I was like, oh, you're right. So I said, thank you so much. This meeting is over. I'm going to go home and start my own business. And I went home and I told my husband, and he lost his mind, because it's true. I don't have a lick of business knowledge. It was only a few months ago that I finally figured out what a P&L was, and that's okay. You figure it out as you go along. Thankfully, I have a wonderful group of friends and mentors and women around me who are always there with a bit of advice or, buck up, buttercup, get your ass in gear. And excuse me, I shouldn't have said that, and keep on stepping. And that's how I got to where I am. Where we go, I'm happy to be a year in. What happens after this? Because we've certainly had to make some changes since the pandemic hit. I don't know, but so far things are going very well.
You are such a natural, you can do this. And I am really thankful for you because you are supporting me. I'm just starting,
Congratulations, by the way. This is amazing. Good for you.
Yeah. You're so famous, and then thank you for allowing me for having me.
You need to hang out with other people. If I'm famous, I have to introduce you to some people who actually are. But I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I really do appreciate this. I will never forget this.
Thank you for having me. Are you kidding me? It was great.
Yeah. And then how have you pivoted since coronavirus?
That's interesting. Well, it was kind of a natural pivot for me, right? I used to do a lot of motivational speaking and large group trainings and seminars. Those are all pretty much, they've all gone away. There are some that are rescheduling virtually, but most of them are just on hold.
Yeah.
And so much of video content is digital right now, and it's online. Yes. So for me, the natural way to recoup that loss that came from speaking was to start launching online and digital courses. And that is an area that's getting louder and louder because a lot of people are doing that now. I released my first one actually last Friday. There's a link to it on my website, and it's the first in a series of about 6. Some are shorter programs, some are longer, but the first one that I released is geared towards high school students who are having to, I remember getting up in front of the class and giving a presentation or a book report. Now they're having to do all of it through that little camera. And then they're also having to do their college admissions interviews, and they're college tours and everything via Zoom. So I had a mom come to me. I'll make this a quick story. I had a mom come to me and say, my daughter is doing, or high school student, doing all of these things on camera. She's treating it like it's a FaceTime call. Can you help her? Can you create a program for her? And I said, I can. And so I created a program for her and her daughters and her daughter's friends, excuse me. And I said, you know what, this is probably a greater need. And so there was the inspiration for my first course. The second one is geared towards college students who are also doing everything virtually. And then for job seekers who are re-entering the workforce, whether they were laid off because of the pandemic or they are re-entering the workforce or hope to re-enter the workforce for whatever reason, the process of interviewing has changed entirely because it's all virtual, and there's a good chance you will never meet the person who is face-to-face anyway, who is making the decision about whether you get this job or not. So there's a big need for that there. Those will be the next two that I roll out this summer.
So how about video? Why is it so important?
Well, it's important for a couple of reasons. And there's so many applications that I think people are not aware of. You know, it's not just about talking on Zoom. It's not just about releasing video on LinkedIn or YouTube, although those are incredibly important, right? Because it's super easy now for us to do video content marketing with our cell phones, right? We can put out thought leadership pieces. We can put out tutorials. We can ask for engagement or create conversations. If you're top of mind and you're demonstrating your expertise and your credibility through your content, people are more likely to engage with you. And engagement, if you handle it correctly, then hopefully leads to client conversion. But there's so many different applications. So for example, in my email, I have a video that's in my email signature that for people who haven't met me before, introduces who I am and how my business works and hopefully how we can help them. When people click my Calendly link on my website to book a consultation, there's a video that goes to them automatically that says, thank you, I'm so excited to talk to you. Here's a couple of things I want you to think about before we get together for our scheduled phone call. It's much more personal. You onboard clients with video. You can create kind of that at the end of your training session or at the end of your project with that client, you can do a video thing. There's a million applications. And when you think about video and how it has an 80% greater engagement rate than even a picture post, or if you have video in your email, even in the header or in the subject line, if it says video, it's got a 20% higher open rate. Those are huge numbers. And so, and then let's not even talk about, influencer marketing and social media and how you can use all of that. There's huge opportunity out there. People are using YouTube far more now almost than they are using Google when they're researching a business or a product or a service or a brand, especially the younger generation. And it helps with SEO, right? If you're not on that video train, I always say this, if you're not on the video train, it's going to run you down and you're not going to get up again because that's where everything is headed.
Wow. So we want to know more you personally. So can you share us something that people don't know about you?
That people don't know about me. Yes, there's lots, but that's why they're secrets. So, okay, something about me personally. When I interviewed for my first job in Wichita Falls, Texas, I mean, it was like, and no offense if anybody listening is from Texas, I grew to love it. But when I stepped off that plane in that North Central, it was November, everything was flat. There was nothing green. There was a junkyard outside of the airport. I stepped off that plane and I was like, oh no, this is not happening. There's no possible way I'm taking this job. And I also had heard that the news director was kind of a jerk. But I went in, I did the interview. The interview was successful. They offered me the job. And I'm telling you, every single thing in my gut said, don't take it, don't take it, don't take it. But it's a competitive industry. It was the first offer I'd gotten. And I sent out 300 tapes. And so it was still VHS back when I was job hunting. And so I took it. And I am so glad that I didn't let that fear make my decision, because it wasn't a logical decision. Like, it wasn't me saying I'm logically not taking this job because it's not a good next step for my career. It is not, I'm not going to learn anything here. It was a fear that was running through my mind that was telling me I shouldn't take it. And I'm so glad that I was able to set aside the emotion and make a logical decision, because I learned so much of that job. I met my husband, who was finishing pilot training at that job, and that job like launched the rest of where I went, and I'm pretty happy with where I went. So that's a story that not many people know about me. A few, but not everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? What is your superpower?
My superpower. Oh, girl. I can eat a lot. I really can. And it shows this past I tried on like literally 4 outfits before this thing. I'm like, oh boy, I fit into this a few months ago. Never mind.
Oh,
I can eat a lot, and I love to travel. I guess that's not really a secret. Who doesn't like to travel? But I love to travel. I lived overseas when I was a kid, and I think that influenced my curiosity about people and their stories and their lives, and kind of looking into those facets of the human condition, if you will, that are not immediately on the surface.
and then you said you love to eat. What kind of food do you eat? What kind of food is your favorite?
Anything. I have a wicked sweet tooth, which I battle on the daily. And man, carbs, but that's not unusual.
I just realized the only burger I can eat is Five Guys.
Okay, so I will tell you this: I don't eat a lot of beef. I don't. No beef, no pork, no lamb. I do eat poultry, but I have had Five Guys fries, and they're pretty darn good.
Yes, true. I said, "Oh my god!" I was able to finish burger. I never finish burger. I only eat half. Never finish it, but that Five Guys, I finish it. Like
it's like you don't even notice. It's like you wake up from a trance 3 minutes later. Where did it go?
But I eat that too. I'm Filipino. Like I don't want to tickle my tummy. That's why in my event, like there's more. They're always surprised with the food, because they say, I don't want to tickle my tummy. I don't want just this. I just want decoration, no decoration. Like I want food.
Yes.
They love and I attend my events because they know there is food.
There's like legit food. It's not like grapes and cheese and some crackers or something, right?
No, it's like it's so funny when I had my son's first birthday and son's I think 5th birthday, 7th birthday, and now and I brought them to the the park, and then my food is in chafing dish. So I said, what is this? It's like, this is a birthday party. When I went here in America, it's like I went to a birthday party, like a burger or something like that. Oh, okay, honey, where's the food? This is the food?
This is the food. Yeah. Well, this is how we do it. It's like it's an hour and a half. Here's your pizza. Here's your game. Yes. Sing the birthday. Have the cake. Bye.
Oh my God! I attended my son's birthday, and then I still have a lot of leftover, and I'm ready for it because we are ready for it. And I give the container. Oh my God! Yes, we are going to get.
See, I no, but it's stressful having the birthday at your house. Do you like it?
Yeah, no, I that's why I did it in the park.
You have it somewhere else. Yeah. We can't. Oh.
Yeah.
I held when we first moved here, where we live now, about 3-ish years ago. My daughter had a birthday a month after we moved, and we obviously didn't know anybody yet, and I didn't know where to have the party. So we had, I don't know, 30 first graders in the house, and I'm like still finding crumbs in the corner, and Never again. That was the end. My husband was always anti go somewhere else and have it. And after that, he's like, yeah, it's not going to happen again here.
Yeah. By the way, everyone, we are connected because of Jill McBabe. Thank you so much, Jill McBabe, for introducing me to Carrie Barrett, because she is really, really awesome. Thank you.
She is awesome. And is she here now? I hope she is. Hi, Jill.
No, I forgot to tell her about this.
Amy, hi, how are you?
Thank you, Melissa and Carrie. So nice to see your less serious side. See, this is halfway to go. Yeah.
I know Amy from one of the chambers of commerce, West Essex Chamber of Commerce, up here by me in North Jersey, and she's fabulous. We did a webinar for her chamber members. Gosh, I guess it was about 2 months ago. She's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. This is my purpose, because we are not business. Like we are we are human. We are people. We have some.
We do, and you know what is interesting, and I wanted to hop back to talking about Jill for a quick second, because I met her. My gosh. Probably right around when I first started my business, because I used to live in Philadelphia, and I connected with, I can't even remember how the connection came about, but there was an event that was held in Philly, and I was, I don't know if I'm going to drive. It was in the evening. I'm going to drive all the way down to Philly at night and then drive back late. But it seemed like a great event, and I'm new to business. I didn't have a lot going on at that point. So I drove down and I met Jill, and Jill was one of the hosts. And then, we stayed in touch off and on. And then randomly there was an event in New York City that I went to, and this lady sat down next to me, and I'm like, gosh, she looks so familiar. And I'm looking at her, and I'm like, I know her from somewhere. And so I started scrolling through my LinkedIn contacts, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is Jill, but I couldn't find her. And I walked over and I'm like, are you Jill? And she said, yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just this completely random event. We happened to sit down next to one another. And from that point on, we've stayed in constant contact. And then she introduced me to you. I just think it's an interesting story, because if you have the time, it never hurts to put yourself out there, because you never know where something is going to lead. And these conversations that I had with you and with your group prior they're amazing. I've met so many cool women, and I've learned so much. And if you have the opportunity, don't turn something down, I guess would be the message. Yeah.
This is what I'm telling people. You don't judge. Don't judge. Not because you are not connected. Doesn't relevant to your business. They still have connections. They know people. Don't judge. That's why.
And I also think that there is something we can learn from almost anybody, regardless of who it is. Now, I'm not saying kill yourself and say yes to every single thing. We know that that's not reasonable also, but there is a lesson to be learned from every single person that you come across in whatever capacity, as long as you take some time to sit and get to know them. And hopefully you're interested in them as a person if you're talking to them in the right way. And that's how you create those connections, and then they grow from there. And that's part of why video is so helpful right now, is that it does help create those connections that we're not able to make in person. We're not going to networking events. The chances of me running into Jill on the streets of New York City are slim right now, because nobody's walking in the streets of New York City. So that's one of the reasons that video is so important.
Yeah. So I wonder, what are you doing now? Where do you network? Do you still network? Do you network?
I do, but I will say that I'm not networking as much as I used to, or I would say I'm networking in different ways, maybe is a better way to say that. So there are virtual events that I do, and this being one of them. And there are certain chambers that I am a member of, and connections that I have that I reach out to with phone calls or a video call every now and then to catch up. and people create conversations and connections. But I will tell you, one of the easiest ways to network right now, especially if you're an introvert. I actually posted something about this on LinkedIn earlier this week or late last week. I can't remember. It's all blending together. But one of the things that people struggle with, especially if they're an introvert or they're shy, is walking into a room filled with people that they don't know and make a conversation. It can be so intimidating. And so one of the cool things right now about LinkedIn is you have the opportunity to network in a way that hopefully feels a little bit safer. You're not directly in front of someone where you can see the disdain on their face, but you have the ability to release video, and people, after they've seen enough videos of you, they begin to forget whether they have met you in person or whether they only know you through video. I mean, I can tell you that from my time in the news, how many times I would walk down the street and some, to me, random stranger would be like, hi. And they would feel like they knew me because they had seen me on TV. That's something that speaks to the power of video. And it works the same way on LinkedIn. So you can network efficiently and strategically on LinkedIn now with video and not have to worry about entering into that room of strange faces and feeling like you don't know where to begin.
Yeah, this is why I did my Zoom, my Coffee Connect, because it's like if you signed up, all you have to do is sign up, show up, and connect. Because I'm the one who's doing everything. Because with me, you signed up, I know the people is coming, so I'm connecting you with 4 people in this specific category, and I'm giving them put them in the break room. So 4 people in the break room, and I give them 5 minutes to talk to with their business and to have a conversation about their business, and they give them like 15 minutes more extra to get. And I am so thankful with my Coffee Connect attendees because they are very, very helpful for me for trying things. Because I tried it with 90 minutes, 60 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And I said, oh my God, okay, now we are doing 45 minutes with 4 quality connections.
That's awesome.
It's really like, and a lot of my attendees is saying like, oh my God, this is really, really awesome. We're kind of like building a family, building a community, because they get to know each other. My goal is to introduce them to new people, but sometimes I doubled it because it's summer. I don't have enough people, but they love it because even if you have 5 minutes, people still don't understand what you do. Oh my God, I was able to understand what you do. The third time I connect with them.
Yeah. You know what? And I want to ask you about that, but before I forget, because you bring up a really good point in that you're right. When you only have a few minutes to meet a bunch of people with 5 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever, it can be really hard to get your message across about who you are and what you do. And so one of the things that I am actually creating a webinar with a marketing expert on is that elevator pitch, and why, especially right now when you're virtually networking, it is so important to have it crisp, clear, and on brand, and 30 seconds.
Yes.
I did a webinar the other day where I'm like, okay, 30 seconds, everybody, give us your elevator pitch and tell us who you are and what you do. And I'm like, 5 minutes later, somebody's still talking, and I'm like, I should have clicked their mic. This is producer 101. I should have said, time's up. I didn't. And people aren't listening at that point anyway. So just a little bit of advice for people who are listening to this. When you do virtual networking, and if you're interested in the webinar, I'd be happy to email me and we can talk about it. But it's so important to have that message be like, precise, pristine, and on point, where you walk away and people remember what you said and they know exactly how you can help them. So your pitch in different networking groups may be different, right? If you're meeting with small business owners versus executives versus people who, I don't know, pull in their revenue is 18 million versus, 500,000. Your pitch is going to be different for each one of them, but it needs to sing and just leap off the monitor. Anyway,
juicy. Look at that. Can you show us your peach?
Well, Amy, look at you. Why are you doing this to me? So I don't know exactly. Rude.
Amy.
8:40, man. I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning.
I know, like an hour now because it's like really
Okay.
the one you
So here's my pitch for. I believe that in most of the people watching this are small business owners. So here's how I'm going to make my pitch.
There you go.
Hi, my name is Carrie Barrett, Carrie Barrett Consulting. I'm a full service media training and on-camera readiness coach. Here's what I do. You know how you go to shoot a 2-minute video on your phone and it actually takes you 3 hours and you hate the end result? I'll make sure that 2-minute video takes you 2 minutes to shoot. You love it at the end. You can hit publish and boom, you're done. That's my pitch.
There you go. You are the
Thank you, Amy. Boy, I'll tell you what, you are tricky.
Yeah.
But it's fun, right?
You are fun, Jenny
Aw.
Amali. She's from
Thank you.
California.
Thank you, Jenny. And so are you. And your dress is stunning in that picture, by the way.
Love this.
Aw, thank you.
Jenny Amali. She said, I'm glad I didn't miss it, but close. I'm here. And
We're glad you didn't miss it
and
either.
one guy, oh my God, I almost missed it. Oh my God. This
Look
show,
at all these ladies in their fabulous, bright, beautiful dresses. I love it.
yes, and this show is only 30 minutes, but you are giving us a lot of nuggets.
Oh my God, I thought it was an hour. I'm just blip, 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 blip.
That is good because it's like, in Zoom meeting, you really have to, you know what you're doing, and you have to deliver, show
Yeah.
up,
Right.
deliver, something like
Sure.
that. So,
Mhm.
and that's why with my networking, I am not allowing people driving, people cooking. I have the rule that you have to stay. This is really meeting people.
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
Connections. And I told them that not because it's in Zoom, you're not going to dress up. I still wear my high heels sometimes,
Ding, ding, girl. Yeah.
I still have Doom perfume.
Oh, now that's a little extra something. Look at
You know?
that.
Who cares,
No,
That's
I
why
agree.
I still I love to dress up. I still
Yeah.
doing dress up because I tell them that this is part of networking like a boss.
Yep.
Even in a networking, modesty aside, I don't need to introduce myself because they always appreciate, oh my God, I love you. Oh my God, I love your necklace, your dress, or something like that. It's a starter of the conversation. So
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
You know what? I agree. And it's interesting that you say that because color makes such a difference in, right? I mean, I know that maybe, I don't know how many men are watching or if any men are watching, but man, this applies to you too, if you're out there.
yes,
It makes such especially now when we're all kind of we have a tendency to shrink and perhaps wallow a little bit and be sorry sacks. And when I put on a color, I whether it's a branding color or as long as something that's not black, even if it's white, it's bright. Although I generally don't suggest you wear white on camera. That's just I'm violating one of my own rules right now, but I know my camera and I know my lighting well enough to do it. However, when you're scrolling through videos, and I've had more than one person say this to me when I'm scrolling through LinkedIn or I'm scrolling through Facebook, and everybody is in like a sea of black and navy, which they're flattering colors, and there are a reason we own a lot of them. I do too. But all of a sudden, I see your thumbnail pop up and you're in like a bright yellow or a bright pink or an orange. I realize that's not applicable to every industry, right? If you're in finance, probably don't want to wear a hot pink dress.
yes, I do.
Grabs people's attention. I mean, there's a reason that we have stylists on the news, and there's a reason that my last stylist forbid us all from wearing black and navy blue.
Yes.
Because it's not attention grabbing. And so, it's not that you have to throw away all those clothes, but be cognizant of the emotional cues that what you're wearing sends people.
So, your
Yep.
server Melissa, you still have to dress up in Zoom. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know, because this is awesome. Oh my God, they always have like 45. You are the longest one, but it's good. It's
Oh,
good.
God.
We have a lot of nuggets. Well, definitely, I think this is going to have more. They're going to request you more because you're giving us a lot of nuggets, and
Well,
yeah,
I hope so. That was my goal.
this is good. This is good.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, and then I am excited because the way I do this by my coffee and conversations, I started with the businesses that attended my Coffee Connect. And
Yeah.
sometimes, and with you, you haven't attended my Coffee Connect, but you supported us. You supported me when we
know.
do when you did the moderator in our
Well,
event before.
my goal is always to get to your Coffee Connect. I always seem to have something that comes up when you're doing it, whether it's a client or I'm traveling or something. But trust me, it is here, and when I can make it happen, I will.
I know. I will give you the. By the way, everyone, if you want to join us on September, we are. If it's $30, $5 will be donated to AAYLF. And if you bring a guest, you automatically move to experience the platinum membership. So you will experience 8 events. You can attend 8 events. You're going to have $5 donation to charity, and you are going to have a My Coffee Connect T-shirt, and you are going to have a 30 minutes business spotlight at Coffee and Conversations with Melissa. Plus, you are going to be a featured speaker in Business Lecture Series. So on September, watch out and join us, and see you on September. And we are going to have an open house on August 17 and 18, and I have 3 events per day. So I have morning, afternoon, and evening. So I think I can get you now.
Okay, good. Thank
Morning,
you.
afternoon, and evening. So because I'm trying to get the international, so the time in the international, what is good for us, I think the best time is like 8 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock. It's 8:30 here. It's 1:30 in London.
Right.
Something like that. So
Yeah.
I had so much fun.
I'm so glad that you reached out and asked me to take part in this. Thank you so much, Melissa. It was great. And thank you everybody who joined us to watch. Thank you.
Yes, and how are they going to connect with you if they want your service?
Well, I was just trying to leave my email in the chat, but for some reason it's not letting me do that.
The chat, we're the only one we're going to get it. But
okay, so here it is.
You can. I will post it in Facebook.
Okay, it's the easiest way to get a hold of me is to either go to my website, which is carriebarrettconsulting.com, or you can email me, Carrie@carriebarrettconsulting.com. But if you wanted to set up a consult, there's a calendar link on my website and make it super easy for you to do. But either one of those ways are great ways to reach out, and I promise I will get back to you immediately or close to it.
I am loving this Miss Amy Aidan.
I know. Isn't she great?
You're awesome. So I hope you can attend in My Coffee Connect.
Yeah, you should.
Where is she? Is she here in USA?
Oh yeah, she's in Jersey here with me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Is it Amisa? Amisa?
Amy.
I don't have my eyeglass. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I know we're trying to compensate for the glare. We've had that conversation. Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you,
you.
Bongai. Thank you, Janie. Thank you, Amy. Amy, if you would like to be a guest here, just give me a buzz.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for allowing me to be my guest.
You are fabulous. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one. Tomorrow, Business Spotlight is Donna Walter. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
We can. I will just.